Hello, all my fellow riders out there. Straight out of your local sports book, this is the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway here. And even with a broken leg, it doesn't stop me from gambling on myself. I'll be back one day, and that's right. I'm here right now with the Dirty Bird, right here on the Sit Down Marks podcast.
Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me. What's going on, everybody? Come on in, sit down. Welcome to episode number 123 of the Sit Down Mars podcast. Now, it's just your boy, the Dirty Bird today, but I got an extra special thing going on here today, man. I think you guys are going to like what we got going here. So let me tell you guys, let me kind of fill you in on what's going on here. So Saturday night, February the 24th, in Normal, Illinois, at Iron Spirit Pro wrestling show, the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway, fractured his femur bone in his right leg in a freak accident during a match. This is the first podcast in a series of podcasts that we're going to be doing where I'm going to talk with Sean about the injury from beginning to full recovery, everything that happened from that night and beyond, straight from Sean's mouth, in hopes of anyone listening to this, that can be fans, promoters, show workers, cameramen, wrestlers, referees, of what can happen, when a serious injury happens like this. So anyone, we're hoping that we could do this series, then hoping that we'll put some more knowledge out there and help everybody to be prepared in case this happens at a show that you may be working at or be attending at. But ultimately, this podcast is going to be to follow Sean's story into getting back in the ring or whatever his plans may be. As many of you know, I am the ring announcer at Iron Spirit Pro. I will be providing a lot of viewpoints about exactly what happened that night from my standpoint, from beginning to end of when the injury went down all the way until we had to ended up canceling the show that night. But I'm also going to be talking about some things too that got a lot of feedback from fans, from things that they seen that went well that night. So we're going to be talking about that too. So, man, I tell you what, with that being said, let me welcome in the Irish Stallion. He's coming in tonight at a minus 280 favorite to make the biggest return in independent pro wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway.
Oh, that was perfect, Dirty Bird. That was perfect. Man, I don't think I could have got a better introduction if I bet all the money in all the debt that I'm going to be breaking for these medical bills, man. That was perfect. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what? It might be a little while before I get to do that, so I had to get it in, man, right? So, yeah. So, all right, Sean. So let's start from the top, man. From anybody that don't know who Sean Galway is, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man, just to kick it off.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sean Galway is a 5-year veteran of the Midwest Chicago independent wrestling scene. I started training at the Freelance Wrestling Academy, and I was one of the very, very first students. I hate to say I was the first student because there was a handful of guys like the Bang Bros who came across from another school called Purgatory with Bryce Benjamin, another like local Chicago indie legend. Those guys I started training with. So when the Freelance Wrestling Academy opened up in November of 2018, I was one of the very first guys, along with those guys and a few others. And I've been training there since, under Isaiah Velasquez, Kylie Ray, Robert Ego Anthony, GPA. So I've trained under a lot of different people and a lot of excellent teachers. I started working with Iron Spirit Pro probably around 2021, and I've been, loving it ever since there. My first show at Iron Spirit was the first amphitheater show, I think.
Yes.
That we, maybe it wasn't the first amphitheater show, but
I actually think it was the first time.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I actually do.
Oh, really?
Was the first one, yeah, because I remember meeting you that night for the first time personally, and I remember I was like, I'm just not giving you the rub here because I told you that night, but like I was like, man, I was like, I fucking love your gimmick, dude. I was like, nobody else is like doing that. I was like, I'm a DraftKings guy. You know what I mean? I'm like, I like this, man. This is cool. This is different, man. I like this. So, I mean, just to rewind real quick. If you're around the independent scene, you hear everybody say freelance kid. You're like one of the original. You're like the freelance kid almost, right?
Yeah, I'm a freelance original, like through and through. Like came up through the whole farm system, like single A, double A, triple A ball, like and I made my way up to the shows, and those shows are tough to get on. I will tell you that right now. It's my last. I did a freelance show on S1 was just a couple weeks. Actually, I think it meant like 2 weeks before the accident happened. So, and those shows are tough to get on, man. Like everybody's fighting for a spot. There's so many talented people, but yeah, freelance, like that's my home and stuff like that. My home base. So yeah.
Seems like more and more of the freelance kids are trickling into Iron Spirit Pro, and I love it, man. And as you talked about, Sean, you started wrestling with us in 2021. You've been a staple, with us, so to speak, for quite a while. You've had some good matches. I thought you had a good match with Ezio or Londi a while back. You're coming off arguably one of the probably top 5 feuds in Iron Spirit Pro history with Zach Abstract, with the whole identity turn. Like,
right.
Yeah. Talk about some of that, man.
That was such a fun story to do. I mean, like and it kind of developed organically. Like we were doing an amphitheater show back in October of last year, and I was working with then when he was known as Orion Starlight, and Orion was like on this and stuff, and I was gonna beat him that night and stuff, and we were kind of talking about like he explained to me like what his goal was with this like storyline that he was getting at, and it just kind of like so happened that like with my gambling gimmick and stuff, it really worked out like where we could like tell a good story where it's like, okay, I cheated to beat you, like and he's like so frustrated that he wants another shot, but like with me it's like, well, you got to gamble something, you got to wager something important if you want another shot at the Irish Stallion. So when Orion Starlight at that time, he was like, well, I got nothing left to lose except for my name, my identity. And so like, it just felt like a natural fit for me and him. And honestly, like I had such great fun with him, and he's a hard hitter, man. He's strong as hell. He's like an ox for real. Like he's no one's ever chopped me as hard as Zach Abstract has. Like he chopped the crap out of me. Those were,
yeah,
but it was a great time wrestling, and I'm glad we got to tell that story and like kind of conclude it in December with that big riddle of him as becoming Zach Abstract.
Yeah, and that was awesome to see that, man, because it was a cool little way for that feud to end up playing out. So so Sean, I know what your gimmick is, but explain it to everybody else. It's a gambler's mentality type gimmick. You always come to the ring with $100 bills or whatever they are, 20s or whatever, and always gambling on yourself to beat your opponent. But where did that come from, man? You like to dip in a little bit of the gambling yourself?
Yeah. I like a good sports bet now and again. For me, I'm not even that old into sports betting. I only got into it maybe like 4 years ago, like when it probably became legal in Illinois and stuff. And my friend got me into it from high school. And it was kind of one of those things where, I was Sean Galway. I had the name and stuff like that. I've known I wanted to be that name for a long time. Like Galway part comes from my family and my Irish ancestry and stuff. So another quick little bit of background. My dad is an Irish immigrant from Galway, Ireland, and moved to this country in 1987. Met my mom a few years later, and then me and my brother were born in 94 and 95, and also my mom's parents, even though my mom was born here in Chicago, like both of her parents are also Irish immigrants. So I'm totally 100% Irish.
Absolutely.
The Galway name just kind of from like just homage to them, homage to like my dad and stuff like that. And
love it. Yeah.
So when I was first like training at freelance and stuff like that, I had the name for sure in my head before I even started training, but I didn't know exactly like what my character was going to be and stuff like that. And I was struggling for about from like 2019 to like late 2020. I was like really struggling for like, what to do with myself. And like one day I was just kind of like at home and I was just like, talking to myself, and I'm like, dang, like what would just imagining myself in the ring, like doing a promo and being like, what would Sean Galway be talking about? Like, what would he be like? What does he like to do? Like, what does he like think about and stuff? And I'm like, I was literally going through my DraftKings, account and stuff like that, looking at like that week's like NFL like lineup and stuff like that, look at the slate. And I was like, and I was thinking to myself, like, he'd probably be gambling. Like, he'd probably be like a sports gambler, and like, because like I imagined Sean Galway as someone kind of like not devious, but like I don't know, kind of like someone who's a bit of a rascal, maybe like someone who's just like likes to scam people. He likes to lie to people. He's kind of like arrogant, and he's also delusional too. So like as soon as I kind of started running with the idea of like being a sports bettor, it kind of started to like get the wheels turning a little bit. Like, oh, okay, like yeah, I could see myself like betting on myself, like betting on all the things I do in the ring, like betting on things I won't do in the ring.
Right.
Like I could see how, and I could see how like be with like the fans, because like trying to get them to like bet on me and like try to make say if I'm going to do the will I hit over under 3.5 chops on this guy, like, and I've got the guy in the corner and stuff, trying to ask the crowd like what are they going to bet on me, like so like all these ideas started like kind of popping in my head and stuff, and I finally like came to my trainer with it, and he was like, yeah, I think that'd be a good idea and stuff. So like finally like he had a concept for making some gear for me and stuff like that. And like once I got the first version of my like Irish pants with like the Irish Stallion poker chip logo on it and stuff, like I was like damn, okay, this is who I am. This is what I didn't know what my end product was gonna be, but like it finally like kind of just happened kind of.
Yeah, it felt right. It felt right once you got there, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so and then Sean, speaking of our fans, man, you ruffle the shit out of their feathers, man. They get to you.
My God.
I might have seen a few kids hit you on the back before, like those darn kids, right? But honestly, like, but they love to boo you.
The kids never leave me alone. They never leave me alone. Never. Right.
They don't.
I can't even peek out through the curtain without them like coming up to me and like trying to, bet like the gum wads in their pockets with me and stuff like for the money I have and stuff. I have to tell them to just beat it.
Right.
But I love that they hate me. So I love to hate them. I love to hate them, and I love that they hate me.
Yeah. They love to boo you. It's all about the reactions, and you definitely get that there. That, and that's it's part of the gimmick. Of why you've been called back. Since 2021 to wrestle for us. So much because you get that reaction out of our fans, and we love it, man. So just absolute great worker you've been for us, man. So with all that being said, brother, let's get to the night of February 24th, man. So let me set the stage for everybody here who is going to be listening about this, who may have been in the crowd, may not have been in the crowd, but so just kind of to tell you where we were in Iron Spirit Pro. As Sean mentioned earlier, he had just finished up with the big feud with Zach Abstract, Orion Starlight to Zach Abstract, the identity change in December. Craig Mitchell had just won the Iron Spirit Pro championship from CJ Esparza in December as well. We had a big show in January where Craig defended his title for the first time. So we were coming into February with another big show set for that night. It was, turned out to be, it was an excellent crowd. It was very full. The Normal Activity Community Center where Iron Spirit Pro runs in Normal, Illinois for most of the winter, in a small bit of the spring before we hit the summer schedule out to all the festivals and baseball parks and stuff like that. So, so like I said, big crowd that night. Everything was going awesome. There was Shane Boucher and Kendall Beck tore it up earlier in the night, and it kind of got the crowd.
That match was crazy.
Yeah, man, it was. It totally blew my mind, and the fans just ate it up, man. They loved it, right? So, so the main event was going to be that night. Was going to be so. At the moment in Iron Spirit Pro, it's looking like Zach Abstract and Solomon Tupu was going to be in a tag team match against Craig Mitchell in the main event and a partner of Craig's choosing. So that was going to be your main event. Now, Sean and Dante Leon was set for the co-main event, which was sixth on the run sheet out of 7 matches for the night. So right off the bat, Sean, have you worked Dante before? This, you guys familiar with each other? Anything with Dante before this?
No, that was our first time touching in the ring. I had, come across him like once or twice in the Iron Spirit Pro locker room. I hadn't really ever had a real conversation with him, but that was our first time in the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, Dante's been with Iron Spirit Pro basically since day one. He's been back with us a lot here lately. So he's been back on the cards, back on the cards with us a little more usual now that he's back in the States a little more. So you guys were setting up the match, Sean. Obviously, you felt good about the match going into it. Did you guys have anything crazy plans? Anything out of the ordinary? I'll tell you this, man. A lot of people's made this comment. This is from a fan standpoint. That match was going awesome, and then it was like a certain point, you guys went to like another gear, and a lot of things were happening fast. Dante was chopping the shit out of you, and it seemed like the more chops, the harder they got. So anything that you can think of before you guys went out there, and then maybe kind of like during the match, anything feel, off or
I can totally get into all of that. We called what I thought was a pretty strong match in the back and stuff, and talked it through a dozen times and stuff, and everything in that match was going according to plan. The escalation felt right. I thought we were hitting everything I felt like I always have a hard time. I'm always hard on myself, as any wrestler is, but I'm always tough on myself for executing moves and being crisp and stuff like that. A lot of times I don't feel like I'm doing that, but I felt like I was hitting everything well in that match, and I was like, damn, this is really rolling well and stuff. So, and there's a picture of me, I think, I don't know if it's on Twitter or not, or maybe it's not, but I have a picture on my phone, at least, of me out of surgery. And I don't think I posted that one, actually. There's a picture on my phone, where you can see I'm out of surgery, and there's all the welts on my chest.
Yes,
it's just a big brush of purple,
Right.
And the doctors are more concerned about that, to be honest, than they were about the leg sometimes. I was like, worry about the leg. The chest is fine. The chest will be good.
The chest looks like this every Saturday night, dude. We're all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So ending sequence, versus I charge him, throws up an elbow. He goes to charge. I go end around on him. I hit him in a waist lock, push him into the ropes. I back roll. He hits the he hits some move. I forget which move he did. Maybe it was like a super kick or something. And then, or maybe it was a GTS. I don't know, actually. I forget actually now. But then he hit hidden blade, knocked me out, and then set me up for the Swanton bomb to the back. Now, I've seen him hit this move on Craig. I've seen him hit like guys like Ninja Mac and Jordan Oliver and other guys.
Same.
So, like, I've seen, and, you know, and like, I didn't think about it at the time, but like I realized a few days later, like why he does the move that way. And I never asked him this, but this is my own, you know, speculation. I didn't ask him this, but my speculation is he does the Swanton bomb to the back because it's probably safer for him and probably for the opponent too, because like instead of like him landing on the mat with his tailbone and then like potentially also landing on the opponent, knocking the wind out of them, breaking a rib, you know, something like that. Yeah. He can hit them on the back and just roll off, and then the person kind of takes it like, you know, they just fall. Yeah. But you know, when I don't know what happened. I haven't watched it back, and I will never watch it back, to be honest. I've already, you know, kind of confirmed with Logan, the you know, Iron Spirit Pro, you know, owner and stuff that like, you know, the footage wouldn't get out and stuff like that. I didn't really want that to be out there. Yeah. And he agreed. So I think, I don't know if I was at a position slightly or if, you know, maybe he just missed his mark just a little bit, or if we were both perfect and it was just a freak thing. But in any case, it was a freak moment where basically I was hunched over, like I was picking up a coin off the ground, waiting for that hit. And I remember it was like 3 seconds, and I was like, you know, I kind of had this little moment of dread in my head. Like, not that I knew what was about to happen, but I was just kind of like, I hate that feeling of waiting and not knowing when. I have the same feeling like when I'm taking like an elbow drop, you know, and I'm just waiting there forever. Like I get that little moment of dread, like, oh my God, just hit it. And so he jumped, he landed like, you know, in the perfect spot on my back. He might've landed like a little heavy on my back. I don't know how it looked to you. You can tell me. But I basically just caved like a table leg, and my leg just split like right at the perfect spot. And like it ended up being a spiral fracture. So it's not like a fracture where it's like even split down the middle, like cut it. It's more like, you know, kind of like when you break a chicken leg and there's that like one piece is like sticking out like a ledge, like a finger, and then the other piece is like mirroring that. So, and if people are, you know, curious what that is, just like Google like a spiral fracture and you'll kind of get maybe what I mean. So that happened. I knew instantly, I felt the break. I knew instantly it was broken. I was screamed, from the pain, and I looked at my leg and I was like in shock because I saw my leg bent at like a 45 to 60 degree angle. And I was like, oh my God. And so I just took my leg, and like an action figure, when you like have an action figure like bent in different positions, I just went like, and I just kind of like pushed it, you know, back as straight as I could. Because I don't know how I realized it, but like I knew if I let the leg set in that like bent position, I was going to be like really in trouble. So I was going to be in more pain. So I am glad I did that. But then like once I did it, I was like, oh, then the pain tripled. Yeah. Quadrupled. Right. So, and then, yeah, you can take from there.
All right. So let me back up to, I want to say too, man, that no way in any way, shape, form, in any iota is this any way insulting Dante at all. You know, this is not nothing. Dante was, you know, just the guy that Sean was wrestling in this match. So we're going to mention his name, right? So now Dante, I've seen him on tons of Iron Spirit shows. I've seen him on other shows. You know, he's a super safe worker. You know, like I said, these kind of things just happen. I know
100%.
I know Dante feels super bad about it. Got to talk
I'll get
to
to that.
Briefly. Yeah, we'll get to that too, of course. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I felt I felt not as obviously not as bad for you, but I felt bad for Dante too, because I hate seeing wrestlers get hurt, and I hate seeing the stress on other wrestlers when they're in a match when another wrestler gets hurt, man. Like it's almost the same level of hurt, but it's just like a little bit different, right? Like it's because I know he's feeling guilt, you know what I mean? And it's, I mean, I know it comes with
Exactly.
part of the business, and we'll get to that too. But okay, so all right, Sean, so you're down on the mat. Here's the part where we're gonna shine up Ref Dev, because Ref Dev Anderson, man,
Yes, please.
Comes down, checks on you, exactly what he's supposed to do, and immediately he's over looking at me and Justin in our faces, throwing up the X, and he's saying Sean's hurt. Like, I'm talking in like lightning speed, because this is how it came off to me. Okay, so I seen Dante do the Swanton. It looked like every other thousandth Swanton that he's ever done. Like it looks like just awesome, right? And I seen you go down, and being the ring announcer, I know that's the finish, right? So I go and I grab the microphone. When I'm grabbing the microphone, I'm looking back over. Now I'm kind of like in the corner post behind, sitting over at the announce table. And Def comes over to the corner post. He throws up the X. He said he's hurt. Okay, now a small part of me, for like maybe a second, goes, did they change the finish and not tell me? Like, no way they would do this finish, right? Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, no way, And then so, like, I like quickly come to my senses, and I look over at Justin and I say, ring the bell, match is over, Sean's hurt. Okay, so I run over like close to you. I don't know if you remember this or not, but you had kind of just let out this kind of yell, squeal, whatever kind it was, and we locked eyes for about, I don't know, maybe 2 seconds, and in those 2 seconds, I felt like you looked at me and you said, "I think it's broke," but you said it like 5 times in a row, like super fast. I think it's broke. And I'm like, oh shit! So I'm running to the back. I'm like, Sean's hurt. Somebody was peeking through the curtain. I think it was even maybe Shane Boucher, and he was already on the phone, like working on getting the paramedics there. So kudos to Shane too for working fast. And so I'm back there. Let's get some guys out there. So Ezio comes out there, Darius, John Bonhart, I think I sent out there. And everybody's just kind of just making sure. I remember my wife tugging on my running over to me just to make sure that you weren't hurt in any kind of headway, your neck or any of that stuff. I was like, no, it's his leg. She's like, okay, so obviously a hush goes over the crowd. Do you hear anything during all this? Are you fully concentrating on the pain? I feel like at one point you got to where you could kind of start cutting jokes because all the guys started laughing a little bit around you. So, like, talk to me while you're on the mat.
Yeah. I don't remember that small interaction that you described, but that I do remember Dev. I do remember Dev being like first person there and stuff like that. And like, he knew right away I was hurt. Like, I think he was probably the closest one, and he saw that like the leg was bent and stuff. I don't know how fast I moved it back, because there was, I think, obviously because I was laying down, it was hard for everybody to see, that part of it. I doubt more than maybe at the first row or two of people like on that side of the ring saw that part of it. But everyone else is probably like, heck, what's going on? Like, he's just screaming. So I remember Dev being there. And and then I do remember like later on being in the ring and stuff, but then I remember Shane coming out, Shane Boucher, and then Gino or Ezio came out. Our other freelance guy, Aaron Payne, came out. Darius came out. Craig came out later on. He's another guy who's like a mentor to me, like a kind of like a big brother guy for all the freelance people. He's awesome. And I do remember the hush that came over the crowd, because I was like, I don't know. I guess in my brain, I was kind of thinking people would start screaming, but then I realized like, oh no, they're hushed because like they had no idea like what's going on. And it probably took about a minute or so for me to have my mind calm down for a second and like register like all the surroundings around me and stuff. And I was kind of in this really awkward position that was painful. Like I was on my right hip, and I was pushing up with my left leg because I couldn't lay flat because it hurt too much. And I just remember being like, oh my God, like call the ambulance. I remember I told them like, start taking down the bottom rope, because I knew that EMTs needed to like slide in and stuff. So, and so I forgot who told me that they were on their way, but like someone was telling me like they're on their way. Maybe it was Shane, but yeah, those are some my initial like first thoughts and memories from like when that happened.
Yeah, Shane's walking around in the back. He's got a flyer from the show so he can give them the correct address to the place. Shout out to I'm not sure. I know you ended up at Broman, but the paramedics for normal. They got there pretty quick, man. Time. I couldn't tell you exactly how much time, but it felt like they got there, pretty quickly, because I felt like it wasn't long after we had got the bottom ropes off or whatever to be able to get you out. It wasn't too long after that before they showed up. So tell me when the paramedics get there, they start trying to move you a little bit. Did the pain start back in horrible again? Like, tell me about getting on the gurney, getting out of there, man.
I honestly, God, if someone had shot me right there, I would have been like thankful, because like just like moving me onto the gurney, like they had two like pieces that fit the backboard, and to slide me under both of them was excruciating. Like just to move even a couple inches was excruciating. So eventually, when they got me, like they had to slide me really slowly and carefully onto the stretcher, and God, like that's when that moment happened too. Like when I was on the stretcher and stuff, and like, and you're absolutely right too. Like they were there within like 5 minutes at the most, maybe less. But I remember like getting strapped up and stuff, and people started to clap a little bit. People were starting, people were, beginning, like the boys were starting to like bang on the ring apron and stuff like that. They were getting, trying to get the crowd back a little bit. And I just remember like I started crying at that moment, because like it was the most surreal moment of my life. Like I just couldn't believe that this was happening to me. Like it just felt like the most freak thing that could have ever happened. And I was in so much pain. I couldn't, and the emotion of it, kind of the embarrassment of it too. It was all kind of getting to me at once. And, it was very overwhelming.
Something unexpectedly happens like that. You're sitting there laying on the canvas, waiting on the paramedics to get there with 200 plus people, just kind of in dead silence. But yeah, so during that time when they're, trying to get you out of there, the dead air had to end. So we started playing a little bit of music. I started talking on the microphone a little bit. As they started to send you out, we sent you off with, a little, a clap and stuff. And I think at that moment, man, like, there was quite a few of us, man, that had some wet eyes as you were getting out of there, man. Because, I mean, honestly, man, like, my dad wrestled independently, shortly for a long period of time.
Really?
I've been around a lot of independent wrestlers, my whole life. You get to know these guys, and a lot of these guys are, as you know yourself, like I hate to see you get hurt because we're chasing dreams, right? You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
yeah. So and these things are nothing but setbacks, and you had, for a wrestler, probably one of the, the worst, that you can have, initially, like, the way I seen everything down, I was thinking, oh, he got tripped up and tore his ACL, like all, or something like that, which, seems a little, more logical for the circumstances. So, but yeah, I mean, it's tough to see, man, and the other side, we're talking to Dante, like trying to, kind of console him. And, it's just a lot of awful energy going on. You know what I mean? So let's get back to the story, man. So, so you're getting on the gurney, you're in the ambulance, you get to the hospital. Obviously, how's your family taking it? You're obviously probably making phone calls of what happened, so, how's all that going?
Well, yeah, that was another tough thing to deal with. Just because I didn't have my phone for about probably an hour because they had to, get me hooked up to the IV and get me some pain meds and like do some x-rays and shit. Like, oh my God. Even just like they had like their x-ray machine was like this big slab and they had to like just like put it like in different spots. Like they had to put it under my leg, put it like on the side of my leg. It was so that's moving the leg, and it was just I'm going to use the word excruciating every time because that's what it was. I mean, like, yeah, it was just a nightmare. So once I took those X-rays and stuff, and they kind of let me like lay there and stuff, they had cut my pants and stuff, cut my shoe off, cut my boot off. My whole leg was like a big massive ham. It was swollen as hell.
Did they cut your tights?
Yeah, cut the tights. I know. Brand new too. Barely 6 months old.
I was gonna say those look pretty fresh, man. Like so.
Yeah. So, but we'll get them back someday. We'll get them back. So I get my phone. First call I make is to my mom and stuff, and that was brutal. Like she almost knew right away. Like she knew I was calling her and stuff. Like she knew from like the way I said hello and stuff. She like because she knew like she knew I wouldn't be calling her at like 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday if it wasn't serious.
Yeah.
And I told her, yeah, she knew, and she was like, I knew this was going to happen someday. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess. I don't know if you knew this was going to happen, but I mean, like,
sure.
I mean, it's the worst. It was the worst phone call I ever had to make. So then I called my girlfriend afterwards, told her what happened. Called my brother, told him what happened. That was pretty much it for phone calls. But I was like that. Those three would spread the news. And then, luckily I was in the hospital. Like a few of the freelance guys came and they, were sitting with me. Darius Luttrell, Aaron Payne, Ezio, Craig. They were there, and they once I got like my splint put on my leg to keep my leg, as tight as possible and like firm.
Yeah.
Which the splint was also like just the worst. That the splint was probably the number one worst thing. The splint was like really? I was screaming, I was crying, I was screaming bloody murder. Like and they were all in the hallway. Like all those dudes were like in the hallway. They heard. I think Logan was there too, and they were all hearing me like screaming for my life, and they're like, no. I was literally like that. Like they're cutting off my leg, but they were just trying to help it. So it was indescribable.
Yeah.
That pain.
All right, buddy. So you wake up Sunday morning after your show Saturday night. You got surgery scheduled. I think it was for noon on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, one more quick thing though. I do want to mention that. So before we get to Sunday night, Dante was also there. He came to see me in the hospital and stuff. And like, like you had mentioned earlier, like he was so, remorseful and stuff. And I was just like, dude, it's, it happens. It was a complete accident. Like I just for the record, like I don't blame Dante at all. Like it was, he's a good dude. It was total freak accident. He was like mega remorseful and stuff. And, I think he was just like, I think he was in shock from it, to be honest. I think he was just so like shaken by like what he saw and stuff like that. And like what had happened. Because I think that was like the last possible outcome that he could have thought would happen from hitting that move. But yeah, so I mean, just wanted to say that real quick. But then, yeah, getting to Sunday morning. So I wake up and stuff. I said a full rosary for my in the morning when I woke up at like 7 a.m. Just because and I hadn't said a rosary in God knows how long. I am a Catholic, but and I am a prayerful guy and stuff. But I mean, I just needed that time in the morning because I knew I needed something. I knew there was a lot of prayers going out for me, which I appreciate from everybody. But I definitely needed to, lean on God for help and for healing. So that I was supposed to get surgery at 10 a.m. I hadn't eaten or drinking anything in hours. I was like starving. I was thirsty, but and they always need you to like have an empty stomach before a surgery. And so then they tell me at like 9:30, oh, it's getting pushed to 4:00. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, bro, come on. Like, what are we waiting for? So, my parents get there around noon. They see the damage and stuff. They're kind of in shock. My mom and dad, my surgery is at 4:00. So finally the hours, has arrived. They roll me in and stuff. And I remember the first moment of relief I had was like when they put me under in the anesthesia and I was like going to sleep. And it was the first moment where I like was at peace for like a moment. And then like, then I remember nothing. I dreamed about nothing. I woke up 2.5 hours later. And my leg felt a lot better. It felt a lot better. Like I know I was on pain meds and shit, but
sure.
The major discomfort of the pain was like was definitely less. So I was like grateful for that.
Yeah. Now you're officially on the mend, right?
Officially on the mend.
Yeah. All right. So what did they do, man? They put a big rod in your leg, I'm sure, right? What did they tell you that they did in there?
They put like 3 or 4 rods in my leg, some screws in there. They said I lost like 3 pints of blood, which I said is common when they do like a femur surgery like that. Since it's the biggest bone in the body, they expect it to lose that much blood. But I lost a ton of blood. Yeah, that first week was rough. I didn't know when I was going home. My leg was as stiff as a board. I was really down in the dumps the first like couple of days. I had to get like a blood transfusion because like my hemoglobin levels were so low, like which is like kind of what brings the red blood cells that bring oxygen to the body in different parts and stuff, which helps with healing and stuff. And like they had to do all these different tests on me. Like I couldn't go to the bathroom for a couple of days. Like I had to get. This is gonna sound gross, but I had to get catheterized. Twice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the ugly. I just want to paint the ugly picture for people. Like,
yeah, man. Like, don't hide nothing, man. This is what comes with. A recovery, man. This is the really crappy stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, getting catheterized, felt like and if people don't know what that is, it's when you have to you can't go to the bathroom by yourself anymore, like, and you're your bladder is just not working properly. And my whole groin region was like numb, so I couldn't feel anything. So they had to stick a tube up my urethra, and like that's how they get you to empty your bladder out. And it's painful and uncomfortable, as you can imagine. And I was gripping the bed, I was crying, I was like, I couldn't even get through it the first time. I told them to stop. Like I couldn't take the first time. So like 6 hours later, they tried again and they got it, but I had to go through that twice before my, bladder started waking up and I could start going. I had to take certain meds for that to happen. And then I also got a blood clot in my right calf. Yeah, I got what's called a DVT, and I forget what it stands for, but basically like, it's a small blood clot. It's not super, super serious. Like if it was in the artery, it'd be a little bit more dangerous, but it's still something to be, you got to watch and pay attention to. So the thing is because my blood was not healing my body fast enough, and because my swelling was not going down, they couldn't put me on blood thinners to like wash out the clot and dissolve it rather. So I was kind of in a catch-22 for about 3 or 4 days where like, my swelling wasn't going down. I couldn't take the blood thinners. My hemoglobin was like slowly going up, but it's like they had to, I was just kind of like, weak and tired and dizzy whenever I'd stand up. I had to have like the nurses hold my leg and carry it very, very slowly off the bed each single time.
Yeah.
It was, just very mentally draining. And then, you don't really have like time to yourself in the hospital because like you're kind of just laying there in the bed uncomfortable, and you're eating the same food every day, and then the nurse is coming in every single hour to take your vitals and to get you water and stuff, but you can't really go to the bathroom comfortably. You can't like take a shit comfortably.
Right.
It's a very miserable time.
Right.
And it's if it wasn't for, and I really do mean this, if it wasn't for every single person like you and Logan from Iron Spirit, from all the boys, in the locker room that were like checking up on me and sending me messages, and all the fans that like sent me messages, and like, the outpouring of love and support, and from my family members too. Like if it wasn't for all of them, like kind of like sending me, support and prayers and all those kind of things, like, I don't know, like my mental state would have been a lot worse, and I probably would have been healing a lot slower. So I do think it was because of, all of their efforts and all the efforts of like the nurses in the hospital and stuff like that, that like really helped me get on my way and trending in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, it's always good to know that, you have, everybody on your side when, something like that goes down. Now, let me tell you, man, like the day you had that surgery, I asked my wife about that surgery, and she says it's one of the most brutal surgeries out there just because of all the things they have to do, how they have to get to certain parts of your bone in that surgery can make it difficult. But it's funny you said that about she goes, you can also lose a lot of blood during that surgery, as you just said that to me too. So
Yeah,
that was wild, dude. So how quickly did they try to get you on your feet? Was it the next day, 2 days later, working on the crutches?
I'm not nearly ready for crutches just yet. I'm still on the old man walker.
Yeah,
3 weeks out. But I mean, so they tried to get me up out of bed the very next day and stuff, and like I was too dizzy and lightheaded to even stand up. So I just laid back in bed. And then the day after, Tuesday, same thing. I was able to stand up for a little bit, but like, I couldn't really take more than a couple steps, a couple paces, inches really.
right.
And then Wednesday I could get up and I was okay. So like, each day progressively, just trying to bend my knee, trying to move my ankle around, trying to squeeze my feet, little bit, just trying to wiggle my hip a little bit. Little by little, I was doing okay. Like I would take the walker and I would just literally claw with my toes. Like I'd go like scoot, 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 scoot,
Sure.
Grabbing the floor with my toes and pulling my foot forward, just to move a couple paces. And then, by Friday I could put weight through my toes and slide my foot up. So I could slide it across, instead of, grabbing with my toes, which gets exhausting. But, and then Sunday I could lift my foot up an inch and put it in front of me, and I'm still not putting any weight on the right foot. Even now, 3 weeks out almost, I can stand up, but I can't really put any weight on the right leg just yet. And I'll get to that. I guess I'm getting slightly ahead, but yeah, the PT stuff wasn't too bad because it's they only were working with me for 30 minutes a day at the most. And then because they have so many other patients and there's so many other older people in the hospital, I guess I kind of thought because I was so young and healthy that I was going to heal quickly on my own and stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
But they did teach me things like how to get dressed in this new way using little tools, like a little grabber machine, and how to put on my socks.
Wow.
And
yeah,
all that stuff was brand new to me. It was just this is this kind of stuff I was thinking to myself, I've seen these kind of little tools before, in grade school, when they're telling you about a paraplegic, that
right. Yeah.
This is this is how a paraplegic gets dressed. They have to use these tools and stuff. And so I'd seen these tools before, but it's I was God damn, it's you're starting from square one. You're learning how to do the most basic functions, standing up, sitting down, and doing it in a way that's not causing you pain. So to sit on the toilet, I'm basically balancing on my left butt cheek just so I can't put any pressure on the right side of my leg. It was just a lot to learn in a few days, but I mean, I was eager to learn as much as I could so I could kind of start moving again and stuff like that. But yeah, I was in the hospital for 8 days. I was admitted that Saturday night, the 24th, and I got finally discharged on March the 3rd.
So that was about 8 days later?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. So you finally get discharged and you're on your way home. Now, I can imagine getting into a car or a van or, is probably just as much as pain in the ass as anything you told me that you've had to do here. You know what I mean? So, so tell me just about, the ride home, getting in the house, all that kind of stuff. That's got to be just as difficult, right? And your family and friends maybe trying to help you get in there too. So yeah, just explain getting out of the hospital.
Getting out of the hospital was awesome. I honestly have nothing bad to say about getting out of the hospital. That was my favorite part.
Sure.
They finally discharged me in the afternoon, and I got wheeled out, in a wheelchair to my mom's car. So it wasn't too bad at all. We stopped at Portillo's first before we hit the road.
There you go.
Yeah. So that helped a lot. I think my energy was so up and I was so excited that it really wasn't too much of a bother for me to get in the car or anything like that. I have this little rope. I wish my camera was working. I could show it, but it's a basic little gate belt where I basically just kind of hook it around my foot and I use it as a lever to pull up my foot places where I can't lift it because I can't pull up with my leg just yet. You know what I mean?
Sure.
On my own power. So I had to use that gate belt to get into the car. But and then I just kind of use it to like, bend the knee and stuff like that whenever it's uncomfortable and try to move it around. But so like the ride home was actually okay. And then the hard part that the PTs were like really worried about was like my mom has all these stairs getting into her condo. That wasn't too bad, to be honest. I was really surprised at how, and I was lucky because there was railings that I could grab on both sides. Like my arms are just long enough to grab them. So I basically have to do like a tricep like extension, where I'm pushing up and then I hop each step. And that's what I did. And then getting up to my mom's condo, like I had to use my dad's shoulder and like use him as like a bar or like some kind of like a place to just put my weight and just hop up the stairs, leaning on my dad's shoulder, like a little kid again. But But yeah, once I was inside, I was just, a big sigh of relief. I was just so relieved to be home because that was such a long stay in the hospital. And like, if I'd stayed any longer, like, my mental health would have been like dropping like a rock in quicksand. Like, it really took a toll on me the first week, but every day I've been home since, I've been getting a little bit stronger and a little bit more flexible. And, my diet came back and like, I'm going to the bathroom better now and stuff like that. I'm learning slowly how to do basic human functions again. Sure. Like I just had like the physical therapist nurse come out today. And there was like, it took a while for them to get out here just because of like insurance stuff and whatever. But they finally came out today and stuff. And like, we kind of went through an evaluation of stuff. And she's like, your strength is coming back like pretty quick. And like, I don't feel like you're in any sort of like danger living here and stuff like that. You can do all basic functions like pretty safely. Like, she's like, so I think you should just go straight to outpatient therapy, which is like, if people like, have ever been driving around town and they see like those athleticos and stuff, like those are like physical therapy places, like where athletes will go for like, after like ACL tears and like shoulder injuries and whatever else. And not just athletes, but, any old folk as well. But, so now that's like my next step right now is getting into outpatient care, hopefully sometime next week, and actually getting to the nitty gritty of like getting this damn leg to like get strong again.
Yeah. Start working properly again.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So, so, I mean, you obviously, do you like take a shower, bath, you like bag your leg up in like a big trash bag? Like, what are you doing? Like,
so I had to wear a swimsuit the first like week and a half, just because like I needed my mom's help just to get into the shower.
Sure.
And basically like anyone who's got like old grandpas or grandmas or old relatives and they're over at their house and they see they got like a chair in the bathroom or a chair in the shower, like, and you're just like being like, oh my God, like I can't imagine this being me when I'm 80 years old. Yeah. But it's like I'm 29 years old and I'm sitting in the shower like an old man with the swimsuit on. So like just to keep the bandages from getting like in the staples from getting too wet and stuff. But I mean, like, so like that all of this stuff is just like, I'm, crawling from like, I'm starting from zero, and it's like, I'm very, I have to tell myself to be patient every day with my recovery because like, it's, there are days where I can see the small changes in me and it's like, it's been very humbling and very like eye-opening to see how much, I've taken for granted in my life in terms of just like basic human functions, like going to the bathroom, taking a shower, holding a plate and like walking across to like put it in the sink. I can't do that right now either. I have to, put two hands on my walker because like I can't like take a step. I can't put weight on my right foot still. It's just everything is like, you're starting from zero, and I'm not at zero anymore, but I'm at like whatever it is, 3 or 4. I don't know what the steps are, but
Yeah.
It's just eye opening to me to see how much how easy we take the simple stuff for granted.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you had me there and we were talking, man. You were talking about like, how much effort you were putting forth to just move an inch. Like it sounded like so grueling to only, to not go anywhere. You know what I mean? So like I'm like, it's already kind of blowing my mind, the stuff you got to go through. But, if I can say this, man, like, a lot of times, man, when a lot of this stuff happens to people, one, you find out what you're made of. You find out that you're capable of way more than you ever thought that you would be,
Mm-hmm.
and like, everybody wants to come back, right? You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to, to say that they made it back, and I'm not talking about wrestling. Like I'm just talking about, past the injury. So, tell me what the doctors told you, Sean. What did they say about recovery? Like anything they said, any question that you asked them, did you ask them about wrestling again? Like, what was the conversation like?
It's funny you bring that up because I didn't bring that stuff up much at all because like wrestling is so far, it's on my mind every day because like I've been watching more wrestling now that I'm home and I have nothing to do. Like I've been watching Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite. That was that was the only thing. Honest to God, wrestling was the only thing that was like keeping me going in the hospital. Like looking forward to those shows like each week or each night, I should say, because there's nothing else on. I mean, like the combine was on, but I mean, like that wasn't really that exciting. But outside of Xavier Worthy running a 4.22, but that was or 4.21, whichever it was. But yeah, with regards to like asking the doctors about wrestling and stuff like that, I didn't even ask them that question because it's like. I know that like it's going to be at least 8 to 12 months before I think about getting back in the ring because it's like I know that I have to, I'm not in any rush to get back in the ring right now because, this whole event is really, it has traumatized me in a lot of ways. Like, there have been, days here where, I've sat quietly, crying to myself because, just trying to absorb everything that's happened, and there's been a lot of emotional, baggage and stuff that's happened to me and stuff like that. And just, there's a lot of stuff I'm still trying to process now. I'm doing great today and stuff like that, but like, I don't know what tomorrow is going to be like. And I didn't ask the doctors too much about the future because I just kind of wanted to focus on getting better one day at a time. And I knew that like, the thought of like getting hurt again also is like very prevalent in my mind at the moment. And it's not like I'm in WWE where I, Seth Rollins tears his MCL or something like that. And he's, he can't wrestle again. He's going to wrestle again because like he's got, incredible body and incredible recovery powers. And he's got a lot of like financial security and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, I still don't know what the total damage is in terms of the bill, but, I've seen a couple of numbers. It's not pretty, but,
sure.
It's, I think I will get back in the ring one day. It's just right now I'm kind of just trying to really evaluate everything that's happening in my life and just kind of, cause I know it's going to take, another, even though I'm like, making good progress right now. Like I'm, today I can move my leg up a little bit. Actually, I can pull my leg up with my hip, and I can pull it up a little bit higher than I did yesterday. And I can,
sure,
I can withstand a little bit more flexibility than I did yesterday and stuff like that. And that kind of thing kind of excites me in a little bit too.
Yeah. Small victories.
So small victories. I'm not someone who, and this is how I've always been. I'm not someone who's ever like looked too far ahead into the future. But I'm very much someone who like looks, takes like each day as it is and stuff like that. But I know it's going to be a very, very long road ahead of me, because I want to come back. If I do come back, I want to come back stronger, better than ever, and, smarter than ever, safer than ever. I just want to be sure that like when I come back, I'm like, there's no doubt in my mind. Like there's no doubt in my mind that I'm ready. So that's why I'm not trying to put any kind of timeline on myself. And to be honest, the doctors didn't really even say how long it's going to take for me to get back. But to be honest, I think I'm going to be walking, within about, another month or so. I wouldn't be surprised if I was walking within a month or so. Like by the end of April, I expect to be, walking again and stuff like that. Probably not like exercising or running or anything like that, but like building up to that. So like, that's my number one main goal right now is just to walk again.
Sure.
And then like the next goal I'll figure out and then I'll crush past that.
Right. Yeah. And nothing too. It's like, kind of like why ask the doctor, because he or she is going to give you this broad spectrum of time that's just going to make you sigh or, be like, oh, make you look like it's, years from now, you know what I mean? So, it's like, I like that approach. Like I respect that because, it's kind of like, you're kind of more about, all right, well, let's, instead of worrying about, where we're going, let's just get going with the recovery, so I'm sure that's, after the surgery and everything was over, it was, so. All right, man. So you're home. You've been home for a little while. You're watching a lot of, of TV. I bet. You said you're watching a lot of wrestling. Are you excited to watch Mania in a couple weeks? Are you going to have like a party maybe or something?
Man, I thinking about that now. Like, damn. Because the thing is, I got a sweet setup at home in my apartment, like for watching all these cable channels. I have what's called a dodgy box. So like basically I get all like the, all of the sports channels, all of the pay-per-view channels. Like I get them for all like one bundle cost or whatever, like kind of like under the radar kind of thing. So like, that's, which is true to the Sean Galway, ethos, of like undercutting, every, but,
right.
So the thing is like, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to really like watch WrestleMania. Cause my mom doesn't, I'm going to have to like download Peacock and crap. So I guess I'll figure out a way to watch it. Sure. But, I am excited for WrestleMania. I'm excited for, Roman and Cody too. I'm excited for the match with, Rock. I love that Rock is back to like 99 corporate Rock. And he's like, bigger than ever and like more like kind of evil than ever, as like the
ridiculous
new like
shirts are back,
head of the board kind of a gimmick.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love it all. It's incredible. The 21-minute promo.
Oh yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. So, you're at home, man. You spend a lot of time at home. How's the DraftKings account looking?
I'm trying to gear up for March Madness. I think is obviously what's next. That's massive week. So honest to God, like I only start, I haven't been paying attention much to college basketball before the injury and stuff like that. So it's been doing a lot of like just research and stuff like that and trying to figure out like who's who. But like I'm still very much lost because like I've never been a massive college basketball person, but because of like the injury and stuff, being stuck at home, like I'm having to watch a lot of these games and stuff like that. But so I am looking forward to March Madness right now. I haven't like really bet a whole lot since the Super Bowl, to be honest. It's hard betting basketball. It's, or not just college basketball, but NBA too. Like I'm the worst NBA bettor that's ever lived. Like I couldn't guess anything right. So that's one sport I definitely stick away from. I'm pretty good at guessing hockey overs and like puck lines and stuff like that. So like I do have some success with like NHL. But man, yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for baseball to kind of kick back in and stuff like that. Even though like I'm a White Sox fan, and they're going to be, bottom of the barrel this year. Like they just traded Dylan Cease for, handful of prospects from the Padres. It's just going to be really tough watching them this year. Probably just bet on them to lose every game, but at least I'll get something out of it.
Yeah,
but
I kind of stick in my wheelhouse that like I do pretty well in UFC. I do pretty well on NASCAR. Like I'll do like
really.
Yeah, I'll bet the underdog on like top tens. That kind of stuff. So I do.
Okay.
I do pretty well there. Yeah, but
don't be shy about dropping me a line.
Yeah. I won't. Yeah, usually I'm a little more heavier during football season. I like to.
Oh yeah.
A little more football, but I'll bet a basketball game or something now again if I'm like bored sitting at home. But so, all right, Sean. So, anything else you want to talk about here, man? Before we put a bow on this first episode of the podcast, you've Dante want to reach back on talk again on Dante Leon. He's reached out to you and still staying in contact with you, correct?
Yeah. He's reached out several times to me, just checking in on me and seeing how I'm doing and stuff. And I definitely would love to work with him again. I thought we were cooking in that match before the accident, and like,
dude, you were. There wasn't. You were. Yeah. You were. Like we were starting to like that match went to that level where you're kind of looking at each other going, damn, these guys are beating the shit out of each other. You know what I mean? Like one of those kind of things. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it was awesome. Like it really was awesome, man. And like I would love to get to the point, if we ever got there, so be it. If we don't, so be it. To where y'all could go back and and have a match again one day, and that would be cool. So
yeah, I'd love to. There's so many people that like, and that's the thing too, is like, I mentioned about like, still kind of like my future in wrestling being a little bit, up in the air at the moment. But when I think about all the people that I haven't wrestled yet, like there's so many people I want to wrestle. Like I want to wrestle Shane Boucher, Jackson Larkin. I'd love to wrestle Craig. I've never wrestled him. There's Xavier Sky. There's so many people that like I'd love to be in the ring with, not just an Iron Spirit, but like at several other promotions as well and stuff. And that's kind of the other thing too, is it's hard, is that like I'm losing such an important year of my life in wrestling and stuff like that. And I think one thing that's crazy to me too is like I know a lot of fans and wrestlers always kind of like imagine like that big like WWE style, like coming back from injury like at the Royal Rumble, and it's crazy. But it's like just like when all these documentaries that WWE do, like it's the recovery process is not easy and it's not glamorous at all. It's painstakingly slow and it's difficult and it's like uncomfortable, and the payoff isn't guaranteed, but it's like it's crazy to imagine all those things, and then like when it finally happens to you, it's a very surreal experience. But that's kind of all I just wanted to mention there, is just I taking one step at a time, and I'm feeling good every day. I'm feeling better every single day.
Good. That's what I want to hear, man, every time we check in with you. But I want to say, Sean, that my heart goes out to you, brother. I know a lot of people have sent you messages and stuff, but before I sat down today, I was just kind of thinking of so that night you came to the show. We all expect to come do the show and then go home, and just the whirlwind that you've been on since then, where you come to the show, you have the match. Next thing you know, you're in an ambulance, you're in the hospital, 8 days later, you get to leave, and so I just want to say kudos, brother. I know that that you've talked about, your mental state had gotten, kind of like really bad, during, which, a lot of us, it would have been like, hospitals don't make anybody happy. You know what I mean? So, but,
No.
but I just want to say that I thought that, you've taken this, one, like a professional, two, like a man, and three, like in an honor that, all of us, should anything like this happen to us, I hope that we kind of tackle this thing, the way that you've tackled this so far. And, I want, like I said, when we come up with this idea, I thought that, for the, not just for the sake of you telling your story, but for the sake of you telling your story, the knowledge that we can pass on, through not just the Midwest, but, other people that might, hear this podcast of these kind of incidents, and then if nothing less, maybe, it just kind of brings to light that, it's not ballet. These things can kind of happen, maybe will help people, kind of implement a plan should, something like this happen. So, but I want to thank you for wanting to, tell your story, so other people can kind of hear what you're going through. We're going to be checking in with you, about every 3 months. We're going to come back in June and, see where you are. Hopefully by then we're hearing lots of good stuff of you, up on your feet and getting around. So just want to thank you for, wanting to do this and help, help more people, be more aware of how these things can happen, brother. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on and stuff like that. I'm more than happy to talk about my story and my situation and stuff like that. And if I can, I think the biggest thing I would love for people just to take away from my story or my situation is just that, plan out, when you're doing matches and stuff for wrestlers, take calculated risks. Anything can happen on the simplest of moves. And a lot of times injuries the simplest of moves, but just, just be mindful, be cautious, don't do anything that you're not 100% or that you 100% understand. I think so many injuries happen because of misunderstandings. Like, oh, I thought you were going to catch me here. No, I was supposed to do this first, and like this, that, and the other. So I think just stressing communication between wrestlers is like the 100% biggest thing that wrestlers can do to keep each other safe, and being honest with each other about like what you are and aren't capable of doing. And then for, promoters out there and like ring crews and staff and stuff like that, just being alert and being like, reactionary, like as quick as you can. Like, as soon as like someone tells you like they're hurt. And so like just acting as quickly as possible, like getting that like bottom rope off like as quick as everybody did was excellent. Like it didn't take like 20 minutes or whatever, that was kind of thing I was like afraid of, is that like the bottom rope was going to take a long time to get off, but you guys had it snapped off in a jiffy. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like the main thing. One last thing I'll say is like, thank you to everybody who reached out to me that night or that weekend with like prayers, thoughts, wrestlers and fans. I got, a week later, I got, these two from two of the girls who had gone to the show, and they, a fan had reached out to me on Facebook and asked if he could mail their drawings to me. And like that was, even though it was just like two simple little like colored pictures and stuff of flowers, like it meant so much to me. It meant like the world to me to receive something like that, because it was so pure and so kind. And that kind of stuff is what gave me strength. That's the kind of stuff that gave me the power to kind of like keep moving forward and stuff like that. So like, and it's the generosity and care of other people's hearts that really have gotten me to the point that I'm at right now. And I won't let that go to waste.
Yeah, well said, brother.
So,
well said. Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said. I do want to give a quick shout out to the Iron Spirit Pro fans that were there in attendance that night. You guys completely understood why we decided to cancel the main event. And I thank you guys for, all, being aware of the situation and just, being compliant and helping us with assisting, helping, to assist Sean in every way possible. So I want to say thank you to the Iron Spirit Pro fans. And also, I want to give a shout out to my boss, Logan Bruce, Iron Spirit Pro boss. He's the promoter there for, working quickly and swiftly on, as well as all of us for getting, these kind of things taken care of. And, I think what I was most proud of was this happening and all of us. I think we all assessed the situation, knew the severity of it, and all kind of kept our heads and didn't panic. And that's that starts with Logan and me, and trickles down from there. So I was just happy that we were able to handle it properly. So thanks to anybody that helps us out. And Sean, it's been great talking to you, brother. Once again, thank you for being here and helping us follow along in your journey, man, in your recovery. Looking forward to talking back with you in June, and sending every best wish I have possible your way, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it so much. Looking forward to our next call.
Yeah, man, sounds good. All right, for the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway, I am the Dirty Bird. We're going to check back in with Sean, like I said, in June. I'll be back here with the Marks in about 2 weeks. We're going to be previewing WrestleMania, talking about everything going on in Philadelphia. And we're also going to kick it back and talk about Sting's last match. So be on the lookout for that one dropping here in just a couple weeks. So once again, thank you to Sean Galway, and we'll see you guys here in just a couple weeks. And Sean, we'll see you in June. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. See you guys next time.